Long before Instagram fame and reality stars turned scandal into currency, Jacqueline Bisset was setting Hollywood on fire with razor-sharp cheekbones, wild brunette hair, and eyes that made men forget their lines. She was danger wrapped in silk, turning down billionaires, defying tradition, and calling marriage a trap meant to cage women. Her lovers were powerful, her standards untouchable, and even though she guarded her privacy, the headlines chased her anyway. That's how controversial Jacqueline Bisset's sex life really was. But how did it all start? And why did she choose such a life? Follow us along as we do a deep dive into the scandalous life of Jacqueline Bisset. Born in the quiet countryside of England, young Jacqueline had no idea she'd spend over 60 years in front of the camera, or that her life would be a long, tangled string of romance, desire, and heartbreak. Some say her craving for independence came from her parents' divorce, but the truth is, they split in 1968, after 28 years of marriage, long after she'd already started carving her own path. Her most intense and unforgettable relationship began a year earlier, in 1967. She had just landed a breakout role in The Sweet Ride, a film that would shift her career and change her love life forever. That's where she met Canadian actor Michael Sarrazin. The chemistry between them wasn't just for the screen. On set, it simmered, and off set, it exploded. They were lovers in every sense. For 7 years, Jacqueline and Michael were emotionally bound, even when physically apart. They didn't do magazine covers or dramatic declarations, but they didn't hide either. They'd show up at events looking like they'd just come from bed. Everyone who knew them knew that they were genuinely in love. Many in her circles say Michael brought out a softer version of Jacqueline. She, in turn, offered him stability, which was rare in their chaotic industry. In later interviews, Jacqueline said, "I never planned on going to America and being part of the Hollywood scene. I had no burning desire to be there. I stayed there because I fell in love with someone. It didn't take much decoding for fans to assume she meant Michael." But even the most beautiful stories sometimes fall apart, and by 1974, the two went their separate ways. Neither publicly discussed the split, but the public had a lot to say. Some said it was the natural drift of two ambitious actors headed in different directions. Others claimed it was a heartbreak for Jacqueline. But in Hollywood, rumors never cease, and for Jacqueline, there was a lot to be rumored. First, there were rumors of a steamy escapade with Ryan O'Neal. While Ryan was basking in the fame of Love Story in 1972, gossip columns were busy suggesting that he and Jacqueline had a brief affair. The two were seen together at events, often looking closer than colleagues. Although nothing was ever confirmed, even when they exchanged glances, it became a headline. That same year, when Jacqueline flew to France to work with legendary director François Truffaut, on Day for Night, rumors started spreading that she was cheating on Michael with Truffaut because he had a history of falling for the women he filmed, and Jacqueline was going to be no exception. According to several witnesses from the set, the duo definitely shared more than just professional admiration. Everyone could feel the tension between them, but in public, they acted as just colleagues, so whether or not they did have a thing, their closeness already gave a sensual impression. The rumors linking Jacqueline to other celebrities continued in 1973, and this time it was with John Peters, the ambitious hairdresser turned Hollywood producer. For a brief time, he pursued Jacqueline with the same intensity he gave to everything. But while Peters was drawn to her beauty, Jacqueline wasn't easy to impress. Whatever passed between them never stuck. Still, tabloids had a field day, splashing headlines about a rumored fling across front pages, eager to turn even the slightest spark into scandal. By 1974, Jacqueline and Michael finally ended their 7-year relationship. Fresh off the breakup, Jacqueline was at the height of her fame and was one of the most desired women in the world. So it didn't surprise anyone when Moroccan-born entrepreneur Victor Dry entered the picture. Unlike her subtle public romance with Michael, this one played out in full view. Jacqueline didn't hide a thing. She and Victor were regulars on the Beverly Hills scene, holding hands at premieres and laughing over wine at dinner parties. Victor would later say in an interview that she changed his life. He sold his fashion business and relocated to the US just to be with her. But Jacqueline's love life had no interest in marriage. She called it a cage. Victor, more traditional than he appeared, wanted something lasting, so in 1980 they went their separate ways. Just like when Jacqueline was with Michael, there were also rumors that rocked her relationship with Victor. Amongst them was the 1976 gossip surrounding her and Nick Nolte. They were seen talking closely at a party, and that was enough to start a scandal campaign. Some people said that they looked intimate, while others swore that Nick and Jacqueline left together that night. Then, just before Jacqueline's second breakup, the young, handsome, and famous son of Audrey Hepburn, Sean Ferrer, became the latest name caught in a publication about Jacqueline. Aside from the fact that she was in a relationship, what made this rumor even more shocking was the age gap between Jacqueline and Sean, and then her long-standing admiration for Audrey. As usual, Jacqueline did not confirm anything, and soon enough, yet another name no one saw coming was linked to her. Back in the 1980s, Hollywood still had a very strict policy about homosexuality, so when Jacqueline was rumored to have been in a brief but intense fling with Candice Bergen, people spoke of it as taboo. Those who ran with the story had no pictures or bold witnesses to confirm their story, but still, people believed because Jacqueline had in the past openly talked about how romantic life was never defined by gender or logic. The timing of the rumor came right on time when she was close to Candice. Just a year after her split from Victor, Jacqueline found love again when she began dating Russian ballet dancer and actor Alexander Godunov. When Alex met her, he was a new Soviet defector in the States, desperately trying to find his rhythm. Not only did he leave his entire career as a ballet dancer behind in the Soviet Union, but also his wife, with whom he had relocated, and then decided that she didn't like America enough to stay. He was all alone, heartbroken, and unstable. But when Jacqueline saw him in New York, she instantly felt a connection to him. In one interview, she said, "I had a feeling like I've known him all my life, a feeling that cannot be absolutely logic." At first, they lived together happily in her home. Perhaps she felt that way because they both had a mutual love for ballet, as Jacqueline herself had studied the art as a young girl. Regardless, their love story was the talk of the town, and they lived together happily in her home. But soon, Alex began to fall into depression. He had given everything to his career as an actor, including his Russian accent. Yet his fame as an actor seemed to be on a slow trail, and some people even said Jacqueline dimmed his shine. Jacqueline tried to help him, but Alex only regressed further. He became addicted to cigarettes and alcohol, and gradually their relationship began to fall apart. It was a heartbreaking sight to see a man who once stood tall and handsome next to her, fallen into an addiction cycle. Alex proposed in a desperate move to save the relationship. However, it only led to futility. Maybe if he hadn't been in such a terrible state, Jacqueline would have considered marriage for the first time ever. Eventually, they broke up peacefully, and when he passed away at the age of 45, Jacqueline's heart broke once again. When that 7-year-long chapter of her life ended, Jacqueline continued to succeed as an actress, and it was on the set of a 1988 French movie that she met Vincent Perez. Despite her being almost 2 decades older, he genuinely loved her, but in usual Hollywood fashion, their schedules began to clash, and they began to drift apart. After their love chapter ended in 1992 without drama, Vincent tried to date again. But according to him, it was nothing like his time with Jacqueline. His relationship with Carla Bruni ended in a terrible scandal, and when he was asked by Cosmopolitan magazine if he would date any celebrity again, Vincent said, "I don't think so. As for Jacqueline, her fling with Vincent would only be the start of her string of escapades with younger men." 2 years later, she began to go out with Emin Boztepe, a Turkish-German martial artist and bodyguard known for his work in Wing Chun. It's unclear how exactly they met. Perhaps Jacqueline wanted to be physically fit, and so she hired him. But it didn't take long before they fell in love, and despite their different age and way of life, their love story bloomed. Even after their breakup, she still remained sensitive about him and would go to the extreme to defend him against those who called him a boy toy. They were occasionally seen together after their love affair ended and even reunited in 2007. Over these years, Jacqueline had aged gracefully and her later life, all while resisting the Hollywood pressure to settle down, remarry, and base her life on who she dated. But her personality continued to confuse many, and rumors of several flings didn't cease to fly around about her sexual life. The name of one of her suspected flings was Chevy Chase, the American comedian and actor known for his wild energy and chaotic personal life. Even though the nature of their relationship is unsure, Chevy was her kind of man. Therefore, it wasn't hard for many to believe that they did share something together. Another big name linked to Jacqueline is Kirk Kerkorian, the billionaire businessman and owner of MGM. He was unlike her recent lovers. He was older and wealthier, and they were so exclusive that there are no pictures of them together. Still, that did not stop gossip blogs from sniffing them out. It was even alleged that Kirk left her stranded at Paris one time because she didn't hurry to board his private jet back to the United States. Then there was the Italian playboy and socialite, Gigi Rizzi, who was also linked to multiple international celebrities during the 1960s and 70s. If they actually had a thing just as tabloids say, it would have been brief but intense. Today, Jacqueline is 80 years old, and for the past 2 decades, her life has been calmer and has not been linked to anyone. The fact that she never married or had children made her a mystery. In an interview, when she was questioned about whether she regretted not settling down, she said, "Marriage has just never interested me, as such." In another interview, she also said, "I'm afraid of the word forever." With all my relationships, I've tried to figure out what would be the best way to keep them. I never thought marriage was the best way. And that idea sums up the emotional truth behind her many relationships. If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll enjoy the one on your screen right now. Click, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you at the next one.